I was hoping it would mean something to you.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
We're all set.
I guess so.
All right, we are calling the April 2025 meeting of the Planning Commission to order, April 7th, and it is 7:07 PM. Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
Linda had asked if she could go under public comment for the cemetery commission. Yes.
Anything else?
I have one thing to add under, after the bylaw review. At the very. end.
What's that?
It's personal.
It's not personal. There's nothing personal about this meeting.
Well, we'd have to go into executive session on it.
Talk about it.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
Well, let's do that at the very end.
yeah.
So after bylaw review, executive session,
Mhm.
so that's still not personal.
Well, it is, it's just not recorded. Anything that I say is not recorded in there.
It's business of the town.
Mhm.
Own business.
And then if there's no other changes. Okay. So introductions, start Heather,
Heather Jewett, Planning Commission.
Ken Carter.
Bill Irwin.
Nikki Cribb.
All right. And the first letter of business is election of officers. Are there,
Bill Irwin to be chair.
sounds like a conspiracy for sure. Are there any other nominations for chair? All right. We could do this as a slate
That would be easy.
if people are open to that. So I think a vice chair would be appropriate. I would nominate Ken Carter.
Second.
It's not quite as hostile as that for a chair was.
Such a good job.
And then secretary treasurer. I would nominate Nikki Cribb.
Second.
Nikki, are you? Great, thank you. And that being the slate, are there any other nominations just to make sure that there's not?
We could separate out secretary treasurer, but
I don't see there.
treasury doesn't do anything for the
Right.
committee, so.
Right.
Okay with that?
Yes,
You want any power?
no.
All right.
Thank you for asking.
So given that we can vote on the slate, Chair Bill Irwin, Vice Chair Ken Carter, Secretary Treasurer Nikki Cribb. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Abstentions? Okay. So that is our new slate of officers. And we're now open for any public comment. Yeah, there's a little green button. You hit the push and it'll record for us.
Okay. And I know at town meeting,
Could you state your name?
Linda McCall,
Thank you.
Chair from the Cemetery Commission. And at town meeting, it was commented about you're working on the town plan.
Yeah.
And if people had input to come forward,
Mhm.
I didn't see anything on the agenda, so I'm here to say there are things in the town plan that need to be updated for the cemetery commission. Page 19 regarding the Hearst House, and also 108 does not front on the cemetery or the Hearst House. And page,
Is that the change you want made,
pardon me,
is that the change that needs to be updated, that
that's,
it says?
I can write those up for you, but those paragraphs need to be changed. And this paragraph on 30 that needs to be changed regarding Maple Grove Cemetery.
I think
And-
it would be- I don't mean to interrupt, but I think it would be great if you could write something up, because we haven't. got-
Yes,
We
Mhm.
haven't really, we're doing it this year, we're talking about it, but we haven't really.
Started working. on it.
Yeah.
started the hard, okay, the drafting and all that.
Right.
Okay, and so on page 88 too. In 2023, Cemetery Commission came before the Select Board to identify that the park, the common that sits to the front of the cemetery is not part of the cemetery. And for 60 years, the Cemetery Commission was tasked with maintaining it. And so it led to the assumption that it was part of the cemetery, and it is not. It was not deeded that way. It was deeded 5 acres, part of it to be for town common, part for cemetery. And so
Is that wrong in the town plan right now? Is it?
it's wrong in the town plan, yes. On page 88, that map shows that whole area as Maple Grove Cemetery. Hard to see without a color
Well,
copy.
yeah. I'm trying to figure this out. So it's a map.
See number 16 there? Need a magnifying glass?
Well, we're looking at the figure 11.1. Is that what you're looking at?
Yes,
Okay, so we see the big yellow outline there. I'm assuming that is partly encompasses the cemetery?
I think she's
Partly
talking about
Yeah.
and it doesn't,
16
it doesn't even show.
shows
all
Maple
of the
Grove Cemetery and it goes
Oh, goes right to the
from
road there. I
108,
see.
yeah, 108 back.
Yeah.
And then there's an empty,
Yeah, it probably
space
goes a little
within the
further
village.
down there, doesn't it? Or-
Yeah, it does go further down. So there's somebody from Northwest Regional Planning that's working on mapping, right?
so you have a note about that in your prepared
2023.
documents right there?
Just a little X. That's all I got.
Right,
Talking.
okay, so,
But I can put it in writing for you,
okay,
That would be helpful.
okay?
Those
because
three-
we're not
you
gonna
look at-
remember it
Okay,
when we start to do this, which hasn't officially kicked off because we haven't
Okay.
gotten funded
okay.
for that.
However, thank you so much for. jumping on it and being on this.
So I'll get those drafted for you, those changes,
Sounds
and
good.
also on the map.
Start a
And
file.
who is it at Northwest that's doing the mapping? Do you know the name or?
So they do it as a group. It's
Okay,
not anybody that I know
okay. So,
that does it alone. I think there's some people that are like parts of they collect the data. Then there's people that do the printing. And so it'll be a part of the overall
okay,
You,
production of the revision.
right. We'll just make sure they don't rubber stamp this.
you think that the whole cemetery should be included in the village center designation area, or does it matter? Or?
It would be,
Yeah, I don't think we
Or
could
could
change
be,
that
yeah.
because the bold, kind of gold line,
Yeah.
that's the village center.
Oh, what's this red line?
And so,
The red line kind of cuts through the cemetery, it looks like.
oh,
you're
so
right.
this is village center district is this gold. The red is the proposed village center designation. So
Oh, we're
that's
making that
smaller. Okay.
Mhm.
And then the other side of this is, we've asked them, just so you know, in previous conversations here to help us with the maps fidelity to detail. Specifically, there are places where different designations cut through properties,
Right,
and that shouldn't be the case. You shouldn't have a piece of property that's in two different designation zones.
that was the case with my property.
Right.
Mm.
And it's with others too. So that's why we shared that with them. And also, when it comes to planning, it's really difficult if you have these misidentified designations. So that's an important feature throughout the whole plan, is to eliminate these properties that share multiple designations,
Right,
because it really should be just one. But there are some very large tracts that you can't help it. This is one for sure. You'd want to see it
That's-
designated correctly.
no,
So that is something we're aware of. the
Okay.
okay,
Property line.
very good. That's all I had to say. Just want to
And
go on record that
yeah, and we hope that you are going to attend the meetings that we set aside for the planning for the revision of the town plan, because there are only a few number of people that do participate, and you've expressed yourself multiple times. So please do keep your eyes and ears open to those meetings.
okay,
What we're talked about doing is, if we don't have other business, we would do it during the normal business meeting.
okay,
If we had, like last month, multiple hearings, then we would schedule a separate meeting with the goal of trying to meet probably monthly on town plan revision. So you can look at the regularly scheduled meeting as clearly an opportunity to talk about the town plan. And then there'll probably be times in between.
When are we
Very good.
starting?
Well, I need to hear about the grant. So I can tell you that were you there at the select board meeting?
Just
Yes.
recently?
Yes, where we voted, yeah, I
Yes.
thought so. But we voted at the most recent select board meeting in March to actually proceed with the municipal planning grant that would give us funds to hire the Northwest Regional Planning Commission to do the town plan revision for the town. So that grant was signed that night, and it was submitted to the people that administer the grant, and we'll probably hear about it very soon, because it was not like going to be months, it was going to be weeks for a decision to be made. We're almost guaranteed to get it.
okay, good.
So we should be starting on it in
Major.
the coming months, yeah. So, as early as March, May and June.
Very good. I thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment?
I thought we were invited to come here to speak about what we've got going on. I don't know if that's public comment.
It is,
Public comment.
because it's not on the agenda. But that means that you can speak about whatever you want in the public comment period.
Well,
You guys have made this commitment to come in here
Yeah, you wanna go
and to
get on record.
leave your house. It's probably warm in your house too.
I'm Patrick Evans. I'm the chairman of the Bakersfield Conservation Commission.
And I'm Julie Hill. I'm the vice chairman. of the Conservation Commission.
Yes.
All right.
And I guess I think we were expected to be here, I thought, anyway. I don't know how this works, but basically, I guess you spoke to Linda just now about write something up. We don't have anything written up, but if you feel you would like to hear what we have to say, we can formalize it in some kind of writing, what we do. We're
So-
not really sure why we're here, except that it is a town plan.
Is there a section devoted to the Conservation Commission in the town plan?
Beats me.
Yeah.
Never seen the town.
Should know.
Well, now that's not a good thing to admit
Okay, all right,
in a recorded session.
okay. Is
I've
this,
studied it in detail as well. Okay.
this is the Fletcher.
So there is, first of all,
I
the
think-
town plan is really nice to read.
Mhm.
It's easy to read, so it's worth doing. There are chapters, 14 of them, and, it talks community profile, historic and archaeological resources. I'm not gonna read them all, but natural resources, compatibility with surrounding towns, economic development, land use. So there's a lot of things in here that could be of interest to your commission.
Yes.
And you should certainly, as Ms. McCall has, take a look at it and see if there's some things that you would like to have elevated, maybe changed in some way. And you don't have to write it down. She had a whole bunch of things. So that's why we asked her if she could write them down, and she was willing to do that. But the other way to do it is to participate in the deliberations.
We didn't come with any issues in hand, just
I mean-
rather we had the feeling we were supposed to be here to say we're the commission,
And-
this is what we got out of our sleeve.
Yeah, I don't know where you got that, but it was probably a well-meaning soul who wanted people to participate.
Okay.
We're not really into that actual town plan revision, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about it.
Where do we find a helm?
Well, the nice thing is that if you go to Northwest Regional Planning Commission of Vermont, or nrpcvt.com, you can actually get the plan, our bylaws, and you can look at them, save a copy, and read them as you would like.
Do they have any copies here? Do we know, or?
I don't know
Do
if,
we have any? So,
I mean, that'd be a good idea to kind of
Paper
put some out
days
there.
or-
Mhm.
Yeah, people don't do paper too much anymore.
The plan might be there, but I know the bylaws aren't.
The bylaws are on the website.
Mhm.
I don't-
Right on the front.
I don't know about the plan. The plan is probably both.
Paper for something like this actually would be really useful. Because,
Yeah, we can.
I mean, even if you was to read it through it online, I think I would find it easier to have a paper
I
copy.
like-
to
Right,
write
what
in.
they're asking is
Yeah.
that if you want to print it, you can print it at home. There's no,
And you wouldn't have to necessarily, if you could.
and you could write on it
Pertinent
and
parts.
bring it to the meetings. So what's going to happen is we will go through this essentially chapter by chapter. And we will try to do 1 or 2 chapters a night that we meet. And then over the course of several months, have it completely revised. And that's why it's good to participate early and often, just like voting. Although you're supposed to do that just once
Yes.
per election. You do it multiple elections.
Probably not good to hear that.
No, you have to have different elections. You don't vote many times in the same election. You just vote every election.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Yes. Thanks for that, Chuck. Okay, I guess.
Because this is a very well-watched venue.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
meetings, yeah.
More than March Madness.
This is the most watching this is gonna get, is me looking at it. Up here,
Well, that's me up there.
yeah.
Well, I think, I guess we'll move on.
Yeah, that would be welcome if you had some thoughts or
We'll come when
something
you-
or you
yeah,
wanted to
meeting.
put in there.
I mean, when it comes to this town,
May.
you got the planning commission, the select board, the zoning commission, and the zoning administrator, and the treasurer and clerk. They're all kind of full-time.
Hmm.
And then you've got the conservation commission, the historical commission, the church, the town library. All of them are a part of, in the fire department, the civic community that should all be looking at this and providing some input. You can put it all, like, for example, if you wanted to take notes in here and you wanted to come once and say, hey, these are the things we would like you to think about in this revision, then we have your comments, or you can come every time we meet and talk with us, be a part of it.
All clarification, I've never understood completely, or I believed I understood that certain people that you mentioned, particularly the fire,
Yeah,
is not really, as is the water district, is like a separate, even more separate part.
Yes,
Have they
the-
self-governing and what have you.
yeah, they are a public, or excuse me, a private corporation,
Mhm.
nonprofit at the fire department.
Any others besides?
The library is a part of the town.
Yeah,
The town road commission is a part of the
of
town.
course, yeah, that's understandable, yeah, but I just.
But I think
Historical Society.
schools are separate,
Historical Society is separate.
historical society, yeah. So it's kind of a mix.
Yeah,
Is the Historical Society separate because it's a
It's a
non-profit?
non-profit.
Oh,
The town
okay.
is not
Ah, okay.
involved in how it spends its money, essentially.
The town makes donations to it for the last couple of years, which is nice.
thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Be back
Thanks for
in-
coming in. And,
And I'm glad
um,
you're walking.
Oh.
well, that's right. You had the boot last
Yeah.
time, so yeah.
No, just a couple more months of taking it easy.
I know.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. All right, so,
Former
Is-
member of the public.
you must be here for maybe the next agenda item, which is appointment to fill a vacant seat. Are you
So,
interested?
I will tell you what happened the last select board meeting. It was on the agenda to appoint you, and I said, I wasn't at the last planning commission meeting, and I don't know, I couldn't say let's appoint Gary Foot because I couldn't represent the commission because I didn't know that decision had been made. So.
Yeah, I had sent an email to Tammy asking her to put that on the agenda for the select board to
Yeah,
appoint Gary.
But we need to say,
As a,
but
as
we
a.
won't-
planning
We did.
yeah, but I wasn't there, so I couldn't say that. I didn't know that you had. was the
Yeah.
problem.
They should have known because he asked Tammy.
Yeah, but somebody had to be there to make the, and I could do it. You've got to either send a letter
Yeah.
in or go. in
Whatever.
person. So I couldn't say,
Next time you can, though?
yeah,
or-
next time I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So I will make that motion next month.
Well, we should hear
As
from
long as-
Gary. Are
as
you
Gary is
interested in this
interested.
job?
The reason I wanted to get on, because I retired from real estate
Oh, okay.
a year ago.
Well, congratulations.
And I got some free time. And I enjoyed being on the planning commission,
Yeah.
and miss you guys.
Well, we've got lots of work to do, so.
Yeah, it'll be good to have your
It'd be
input.
company
back.
So,
just at the nick of time.
By our just second meeting on this, then we would say we would like the select board to
Okay.
consider Gary Foot for appointment to the planning. I think it's great because you were a part of the last revision
Yeah.
of the plan. And so you remember what we went through and can help us. And,
And he makes good cookies, I've heard.
you know, there's no proof of that as far as I know. I've not had a cookie unless it was when I was getting a tree. I might have had a cookie when I better watch out. There might have been a cookie involved there. So. Well, good. Thank you for.
Only wanted it at town meeting and everything, and I said, well, I think I'll just, as long as there's nobody, if you get somebody that really wants it, just
I don't know.
tell me and I'll resign.
Sounds like you're the one that wants it. Yeah.
And it would be good to have 5
Yeah.
because,
But I enjoy it.
yeah,
Good.
yeah. And I think it is particularly useful to have more people. And it's definitely useful to have an odd number, although we don't really have
I don't think
many
we've had any.
really controversial decisions. It's almost always unanimous decision. But with 5, it lends to better debate. And certainly an odd number prevents usually a paralyzing
decision.
split decision, yeah. So, great. So we're in good shape now. We don't have
Yeah.
to, all right.
Yep, I can take it to the.
So hopefully you can come next
Yeah,
month and be a part of the commission.
When is that?
Yeah, can we just schedule that next meeting now? So that we can make sure Gary knows. So the first Monday in May,
God, I can't believe
well, it is just the first Monday in April, so we still have a whole month
that. I
before
know,
we get
but it
there.
was like, mate, sang
So that would
along.
be May 5th. And oh my, we have to have margaritas here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come
But
on over.
so is everybody good for May 5th? I'm okay.
Yep.
Actually, yeah, I'll be back. I'm
I
coming
will
back
be
Sunday.
out, but don't hold up for me.
So May 5th, 2025. So it's the regular first Monday of May. Okay.
So now it goes to the select board to
Mhm.
approve it.
They'll just have to officially appoint you. You don't need to be there
Okay.
unless you have a
Okay, yeah.
burning desire to be there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sounds good.
come back on the 5th.
You're welcome to stay and but we're also not really likely to do a whole lot much more. So Gary
Session.
Foot. Yeah, that's great, Gary. Thank you.
Yeah.
So did we have March meeting minutes? I'll be honest with you.
No.
I've had I've traveled to 3 different places since we last met. And so I have not had time. I was going to try to do it today, but I had a call come in, so I couldn't. But I have both the February and March meeting minutes. February
we
needed
didn't
to be
approve it.
revised
Right, right.
Right,
and we need March. Can we put them off till next?
Sure.
yeah.
And I will get those done. And I'll send them both out to everybody to review. And then maybe you can have a revised copy based on everybody's review when when we come back May 5th.
That's good.
Yeah, you could do February, March and April all at the same time.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Um,
I'll do it. I'll do this meeting.
okay, you'll do March.
Uh,
No, this is April. Okay, so I'll do the February and March. Okay,
Gary,
that's,
do you have an email address where we can just write it down for me before you leave? Unless you don't want things emailed.
oh,
You got an email address?
What's
Do
that?
you have an email address? Email? You get email? What is it?
No, write it down. We don't need it.
All right. Hold on, write it down. Hey,
Foot, FOOTE,
Okay.
at myfairpoint.net.
right.
you might be getting a lot of emails since it's in the cloud now.
GA Foot, FOOTE at myfairpoint.net. Great.
Got it.
All right, good. That was good ask. We need that. So the next item is the bylaw review.
So that was a very specific thing that came out of the most recent ZBA meeting.
Is that different from what you want to talk about or is it the same?
Different,
Different,
sorry.
okay.
And we
Yes,
have just sort
I
of
mean, yes.
thrown out the idea that we should talk about this at some point. And I know that
Who's we?
so the ZBA, which was John, me and Heather, said the planning commission should talk about this section of bylaws. Heather's more eloquent about it than I am because I
Is this
don't
that
know
specific
what we
wording
said.
in the,
I know it's so hard. It's like, yes, so we really should look at amending that particular area that came up in the last ZBA. And I know that the town attorney said at any time we can adjust the town bylaws. And it's supposed to be a living document. So at any time it can be adjusted in the select board at that point and yay or nay it.
So just so you know,
Mhm.
the bylaws are voted on by the town.
That's correct, except you can, the lawyer said, we can update it at any time. It's supposed to be a living document. It's supposed to be adjusted as it goes and not necessarily.
I do not know about that, and I would have to actually see that in writing, because I
Yeah.
do not believe that something that is voted on by the town voters at town meeting could be amended in between adoption by the voters by us or by the select board. I don't know what the process is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get that process.
'Cause I understand that. Well, frankly, I don't understand that it's meant to be a living document. They're laws.
Mhm.
I work with laws in my job all the time. We literally have to go through processes anytime we revise law.
Right, and that's what we would do. We would have our meeting, make a decision, bring it to the select board, the select board yays or nays it. We can, at that point, I don't know what to do if they nay it and we really.
And
want
I
it.
don't even know if that is accurate, to be honest with you,
Right.
because it just says right here,
Mhm.
adopted by the voters, not by the select board.
Right.
The town plan is different. The town plan is adopted by the select board. They can make decisions to change this at
Right.
any select board meeting. But this has always been, for the history of it, done at town meeting day
Mhm.
as a warned session of the meeting. I don't know if, have you ever heard anything? You and Ken have been on here longer than me.
No, I know that I've heard talk about we can make amendments to the plan
Mhm.
and have the select board approve that, but I guess I.
Well, it would make sense for the bylaws as well, but I can get you that as well.
Well, we
'cause if
have to,
we
yeah.
find something, it would be stupid to carry a law for 7 years.
No, you can, I'm not saying you can't do it. What I'm saying is it has to be done by the voters, not by us or the select board. Because this is law. It's not just, the plan is policy.
You're thinking that we would have to pay to have another election?
No,
rather
I
than-
think you would have to
Wait.
warn an election.
Yeah.
You would
Right.
have to say what the election is about, i.e. that there's a change in the bylaws.
Right. but
And
that-
then there would have to be an opportunity for the public to comment. And then there would be a vote,
Okay,
because that's what law's about.
okay. I'll meet again with a lawyer. I don't, if you want to talk to him, I can
So,
forward
so
you
first of
some-
all, I don't understand why you're meeting with a lawyer.
Oh, no, this was to do with the ZBA.
Okay,
Well,
Yeah.
that was-
okay,
it was-
so,
yes.
okay, as far,
We're wearing two different hats. which
Okay.
makes it really
Yes.
complicated.
right,
Yeah,
because I feel awkward
Yeah.
if you're representing the planning commission
Mhm.
with a lawyer when we are unaware of that.
no, the ZBA,
All right, good.
but the plan, or the, the lawyer wanted me to go to the planning commission. And either it would be in our benefit to change the law now.
I don't know if it is. Personally, I think that the reason this goes to the voters
Mhm.
is that these are the laws. If you're going to change your property
Okay, well,
or your house,
Get into
you have
that.
to,
Let's
no,
just
I,
find out the legal way and we'll go for it. I
right,
can't-
I'm just trying to
I
explain
know how you
that the
feel, but-
reason that it goes to the voters
Yeah.
is so that you hear everybody who's affected by it, not just the elected representatives.
Right. And I understand that. I just have a different view from what was told to me by the lawyer and what I've read online. So what would you like?
We
Would
just need
you-
to know what the process is. So
Okay, I
if-
just did. So
if-
who do you want to hear it from?
We see it in writing.
And who do you want to hear it from? Because I have it in writing from the lawyer.
Mm.
So do you want to?
Email it.
He's
Okay.
attending,
Start there.
he's the lawyer.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't email it.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it needs to be brought to a meeting. And it could go,
Open public meeting, I guess.
right.
Probably
It
should
would
be in-
want, you would want to warn that
Mhm.
meeting
Gary, you're going to be here next week.
in order to discuss it.
But just send it like as a letter to the
Yeah,
planning commission.
I
or
can do
something, we
that,
could
yeah.
hit Next meeting.
yes.
Because I personally am a little bit concerned about individuals doing things on their own as opposed to
Well, I think we're a bit up against the rock and a hard place, because if we get another one of these buildings that are over 35 feet tall and you have to get a new fire truck or something, right? Wasn't that talked about
Yeah.
last time? And
I don't know if that's literally the case. I
That
think
is what
that
the
what the
fire-
fire department would tell that individual is, we don't have a truck that can go up that high.
So there was a,
You are building this at your own risk. And for that reason, you may not be able to have it insured, for example.
Mm.
I don't think it means that the town has to go buy a fire
so
truck.
there was a very long discussion about that.
Yes.
at The public hearing, and Matt was involved and Ginger was involved.
And yeah, we were told point blank they would have
They
to.
could,
we
not
reach a
that they had
certain-
to, that they could.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that could happen.
Right, and that's an
Which
important
wasn't
distinction.
the only reason why
Right.
that whole decision happened. I think the issue at point here is we need to know what we can do and the best way to do it, even if we can do it now. That
Right.
doesn't mean that it's actually the best
Right.
way to do it, but either way, if we need to be looking at making some amendments to that particular section, there's no harm talking about it.
Right,
And then following the process, whatever that may be, whether it's November or next March, we have an election, we don't have.
no.
I think that they could call an election anytime on a particular issue, you know, if they wanted, if the lawyer said that it could be done by the voters at a special election, I think that you could easily change this and it would just have a new date on there for those changes that are put in there.
Yeah.
It's just that we can't do it in this meeting.
Just us.
And I don't think that select board can do it by themselves either.
They can, well, according to the lawyer, they can, but I can.
Frankly,
I'm not
I
gonna
have to-
avoid-
I understand you don't like it, but.
no, I didn't say I don't like it. I say I disagree.
Yeah,
It has nothing to do with like.
yeah,
It has to do with the fact that it says here, adopted by the
Right.
select board, and it says here, adopted by the voters.
right,
The select board are not the voters. They're different.
right.
And I don't know that the select board would make
Yeah.
that decision arbitrarily, but it
Yeah.
would be.
We need to have
I
a,
we
think
need to
the
have
select board
conversation.
had us, wanted the town to vote on the bylaws last time, if I
Mhm.
remember correctly.
They always have
yeah.
voted on this.
Yeah. but
It's just
By the
any
voters.
changes and the reason why it's not specifically elected, it doesn't have to be by, it can be by the select board is because it costs money to do that. So
And
they.
whatever,
written
um,
that in, so we have that protection that if something is glaring, we can change it, say this was a mistake, we need to change this. And then
Right.
bring it to the select board, they rule on it, and then if, I mean, we're all.
Is the
doing
town
bylaws,
lawyer
you
that
can-
you're talking about?
Yeah,
Okay, I need to hear it from him or her. That's it.
She's-
I got the email, but yeah.
We can, yeah, we just need to make sure we follow the right process.
I have no skin in the game, so it's your money, town taxpayers' money, so.
It doesn't cost anything. Really doesn't.
For an election.
It's only
For-
time.
For an
It's only
election,
time.
there sure is a huge cost. for
No,
it.
this is not an election. It would be a special vote.
For a
That's all.
special vote, it does cost. I did find that out. It does
Right.
cost us money to do a special vote.
But I think that you're going to probably have that cost no matter what. Because it doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens by adoption by the voters.
So
But
when would we be redoing the bylaws if we were doing it?
it is whenever the town wants to do it. It's, the plan is required every 7
But
years.
the bylaws.
The bylaws are whenever you want to do it.
So when did we last do the bylaw?
In March 2017.
So,
Normally, what we have been doing for the last few times that I've been involved is we've revised the plan
yeah.
and then we revise the bylaws because the plan advises the bylaws.
So there
But
is
we
a-
don't have to do it in that order. You could revise this plan, or excuse me, the bylaws. All it just takes is a vote by the voters
Yeah.
to do it. You could do it at annual meeting, but you could also do it at a special meeting. They've had special meetings where they've had votes on different things here, and they could do it for the bylaws as well.
And the bylaw, and this is just from my education, so the bylaws are proposed by this group or recommended by this group and the select board takes it on? Or
So,
is
so the
anybody
bylaws
supposed
usually are informed by statute.
Right.
Because they have to be in compliance with what the
Right.
state says. So you'll find a lot of things in here are almost exactly as they are defined in statute. And I think what we did before is we actually had a municipal planning grant to revise
Yeah.
the bylaws. Because I think it requires a professional like someone at the Northwest Regional
Mhm.
Planning
That
Commission
was gonna be my
to
next
know
question.
what the statutes say.
To make sure. that
Because
we're in
this is
compliance.
not just a matter of opinions. It is actually a legal document of regulations that all the people have to comply to. And that's why it is all the people in town who are registered voters are allowed to make the decision as to whether it's approved or not. But that's my opinion.
So have we not updated the bylaws since the last town plan? Because it says that.
That is correct. We did revise it after this town plan, I thought.
I don't know, this
So
one says
there's two different
2018.
dates. So that I'd have to look online. Let me see if I can find another date
I
for,
thought we had updated the bylaws after we did the last town plan version, so.
no, I thought you're right.
Science, so you can Google the quickest. I'm not finding. it.
Well, it is probably under municipalities. You go to Bakersfield.
Well, I was looking on, it should be on our website.
Oh,
Mhm.
so then, so
it's not
here's the
town plan.
Bakersfield regulations. And the date of the regulations. This is the same, March 7, 2017. So it may have been that this meeting came first, it was March, and
November.
then this we voted after,
November.
but it was actually done in the same time
I think
frame.
it was, yeah.
In fact, that was kind of our thinking was we were gonna do this and this together. And we ended up, this had to be done by town meeting day, and then this came at the select board meetings sometime later in the fall.
Now I remember.
That's how come with different dates.
That makes sense.
Barely. Barely.
Yeah. And then we just verify that that's the. Most recent, November 26, 2018 for the town plan. So that is most recent. Okay,
Shall we move on to the next item?
yes, so executive session.
We have to ask you to leave for this, Gary.
Gary can stay.
You can?
Mhm.
Do we turn off the recording?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, we've got to make a vote to go into executive session.
I move we go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So 3 votes, I am staying.
Extension.
I don't like,
See at the very
Executive
bottom,
session.
pause and stop recording.
I can't see it from here. so-
Bottom row.
Where is it? Sorry, I can't,
Sorry.
I can't see it from here. Even with my glasses off, I can't. see it from here.
Yeah, but I can't get that. There we are.
Oh, there. Yeah.
All right. So the executive session is out. We are back to the regularly scheduled meeting. We have talked about the next meeting being May 5th. And that is the end of the agenda. Were there any other comments before we have a last motion?
Comment is, I move we adjourn.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
What's happening with these?
We needed a